Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Tsunoda, Lando Norris, and Hamilton, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Doohan, and Sonny Hayes, Albon, Fernando Alonso, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Pierce, Sainz, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, and Gabriel Bortoleto, Hadjar, Behrman, Lawson, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. So we're getting close to the start of the race. What will this driver be experiencing? Big nerves? Big excitement? What?
Always extra nerves at the start of the race, Gruffy. It's probably at the start of the race, it's where your heart rate's at its highest in anticipation. And you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be thinking there inside the car, what can go right? How can I be opportunistic rather than what can go wrong? And how do I protect my position? Look forward and stay positive. It's easy to say, very hard to do when you're in that position.
The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
now use DRS. DRS now available. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, the car behind is dropping back, we're seeing a gap starting to form. Tyre condition still looking good. Red Bull driver has just completed a pass for the lead. Final lap, push, push. Okay, he's sat in P2. Verstappen's ahead of you. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 1.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Leclerc is behind you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. Second place, you're in second place. It's Verstappen ahead, Leclerc behind. Yes, yes, come on, we're on the podium. Good job this weekend, that's a great drive, thank you.
So that wraps up the sprint race, but there's still more action yet to come this weekend. We've got qualifying and, of course, the Grand Prix. Welcome back to Miami and welcome to qualifying. Only raw speed will separate these drivers today, but the question is, who's got what it takes to get pole?
Okay, mate, radio check please, radio check.
Florida is no stranger to world-class sport, and as of 2022, the USA's Sunshine State is now on the F1 calendar. Welcome back to the Magic City for the Miami Grand Prix. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium, and 19 corners make up the Miami International Autodrome, which will challenge the drivers in a tight wheel-to-wheel race. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, George Russell, and Pierce, Hayes, Norris, Hamilton, and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Pierre Gasly, and Sainz, Doohan, Antonelli, Alex Albon, and Ollie Behrman, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.